Oh, that wasn't.
Yes. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls. Let's just take a moment to talk about the fight that never was. According to Stuart Hill, Sugar Hill, may I say, Stuart Hill. Sugar Hill said that Tyson Fury wasn't even training for the fight. So, yeah, April 29th is all gone. And Fury and Usyk is about as close as they're going to come to fighting at Wembley on April 29th. Much to talk about. I have with me in the house, as always, the one and only Eugene, our Eastern European correspondent. Don't go anywhere. Eugene, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Ingram. How about you?
Are you there? I'm great. So, where do we begin with all this, brother? Where do we begin with all this?
We can begin right where we left it off, where we more or less said the
We have
fight
comments
would
straight away. Love hearing Eugene talk. No doubt he's going to cook Tyson. I'm here for it. Good to see you're back from MIA. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Done with Fury personally. I had a lot of respect for Frank Warren, but he's also come off bad in this circus drama. Everyone's done with him, bro. Okay. Right. Sorry, Eugene. Go ahead.
Right. So last time, we more or less, if we were to boil down our previous show, we could bring it to the fight isn't signed yet, so expect more, right? Because that's good news, but it's not enough, right? There are no two signatures on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And also that there are reasons why Tyson would be concerned about taking this fight, right? So after discussing what the concerns of Tyson could be, and that the fight is not made until it's made, we can continue at why it's not being made.
Okay, we should do.
Well,
here's this. I was just going to say, people always say to me, where's your source? So they think that if I say a fight's going to happen and it's confirmed in newspapers, suddenly the fight is confirmed. We've just seen that a fight was confirmed. We said it. We mentioned it on the channel. The fight was going to happen. Frank Warren confirmed it was going to happen. And then now we've had a breakdown that the fight's not going to happen. Talk to me about that for a second.
Well, okay. That's goes back to the whole thing about reputable sources and who the sources of those sources are, right? Because most of the journalists, they don't know. They get informed by somebody. Right? Now, whenever you're dealing with something like contract of this magnitude, information is going to leak, right? Contract is largest, the unification contract of Undisputed. So, and it kind of makes sense to leak the date early so that there's more interest around the date, right? It kind of gets embedded in people's minds. So, somebody gets a scoop that it's going to be at April 29th, which we know now that was the date. So, they were, reputable because some of their sources were correct. But the problem is, whoever leaks it has an intention behind it.
Okay.
Right? So essentially, those sources get curated. And if they don't cross-examine it, you're putting a lot of stock into value in this particular source. Let's say it would be, I don't know, BBC Sports, whatever, right? But where's the root? right? And then there are people who have examined the patterns of behavior. Let's say you,
Mm,
who have been paying attention to sport of boxing, its business side and the sports side,
mm.
and after 20 years, for example, you can tell when things are not going
The way
right.
they should
Not,
be.
yeah, what if the fight was happening,
This is what you
there
would expect.
these signs, right? And somebody says, well, you're not a reputable source. Where are your sources? Right? Well, yeah, there might not be a rubber stamp until things happen, but that's why you go by the track record,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So everyone, a source is only as reputable as you consider it to be. There are people who will only listen to things coming out of Tyson Fury's camp because they believe it's a credible source.
That's true. That's fair.
There would be agenda behind it, right? The information that you receive from the camp is trying to paint a picture.
Mm,
When you see in videos of sparring with Klitschko sparring, and in the background it's a fight of Anthony Joshua versus Dillian White.
mm,
Why was that video was published? There must have been more videos, but only this one came out for you to see. So you can
mm,
receive information from a reputable source, but it's curated, and it doesn't
mm,
mean anything anymore, right?
mm, mm,
So, you know, people who talk about sources need to do a little more thinking than just trusting on the sources themselves, putting their
mm.
trust in it.
That's true. I want to. There's something here that Liam says is very interesting. Let me throw this into the mix. He says, "Highfield Boxing was saying Tyson owes too many people money, so has to demand over the top split. Fury has a lot of powerful connections who I wouldn't want to owe money." What do you make of that?
This is the first time I hear about it, so I'm not gonna comment on validity or non-validity of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is questionable behavior that Fury did get away with.
He's been getting away. He's been getting away with questionable behavior for years. The one thing is, I wanna understand something. For somebody who claims or says he's got mental health problems, the sort of abuse that he gives people, verbal abuse that he gives people and says to people. I mean, I don't. I find it strange somebody who suffers from mental abuse or mental health and has issues with mental health can then have so much energy to downrate and degrade another person. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
That's I agree with you, but the whole reasoning is that the stock that he's trying to put into convincing people that he has mental health issue or he suffered from it, it's not a he's banking on people not knocking him
Sympathy,
for it, right?
sympathy, the sympathy
Yeah,
vote.
sympathy, because you cannot even criticize something like that because now you're just knocking down a person who has struggled mentally, right?
But wait, but
It's
hold on.
seen as like boiling alive a puppy. It's not
Yeah,
supposed
but
to
hold on.
happen, right?
But hold on. So he got done with a PED situation. He got banned for was it 2 years? Was it a 2 year ban?
Yeah, exactly, as long as he was out of the ring, right?
But nobody really talks about that. But Conor Ben, who's just got done, or allegedly got done, people are like, it's a witch hunt after Conor Ben, if you look at it. The way they're going after Conor Ben. But Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders got done, but they didn't go after him in the same way they've gone after Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury said nothing about Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is like, no matter what Tyson Fury says, it's like he's as white as snow. Whatever Tyson Fury says, it's allowed, it's acceptable.
Well, one of the reasons I would guess would be people, again, boxing is somewhat political,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
Tyson Fury is marketable. You can put him in a lot of categories and market that,
Okay.
right? So for that reason, they are not going to sacrifice them. And I mean, fans are fans, right? If a fan of a person is a fan of a person, it's gonna take a lot for that person to change their opinion or ever, right?
Mhm.
They just
Yeah.
lap it up.
Mhm.
But there is also an issue of money, marketability, longevity, and the people who take those decisions take that into consideration. It would be a very bad economically, um, very bad economically. It would be very bad for this situation to happen if Canelo couldn't fight for 5 years. And same is with Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury does
Yeah.
generate a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
But what about Jared Miller? What does he
Yeah,
generate?
we talked about this. Uh-huh. What about
Right?
Povetkin?
Povetkin had an oligarch
He
behind
got
him,
banged, caught 3 times.
caught 3 times, and kept coming back for more. And that's because
And
there was a
Eddie Hearn even
powerful
promoted on pay-per-view
oligarch.
fights. Think about that.
Yeah. So if there is enough money behind a fighter, you're not gonna knock him off. There's gonna be some bullshit excuse. It was the eggs, it was the hog, it was, I don't know, pigeon shit on top of my roof. It doesn't matter. It was something. It's not my fault, and I have to be allowed to get back in the ring. But if you're small fry, right? If you're Connor Ben, all the spotlights
Yeah.
are on you and so on. If you're Jared Miller, all the spotlights are on you. Oh bastard. Because it's easy to knock somebody who is not bringing much money. It's a sacrificial lamb. That's what I talked to. I was talking to you about on the last show. There are people that get a book thrown at them, and there are people who get
Yes.
away with the murder. It's all a
Or so we just
facade,
say, yeah, we'll make an example of him. Look at him. Yeah, we're making, look how good we are as a world boxing organization. Yeah, we'll make an example of you. You're the one who doesn't get paid much money. You're not much of a ticket draw, but we're going to ban you from boxing. Yeah, but in the case of Tyson Fury, he was at the time, if I'm right, Tyson wasn't a big ticket seller at the time, was he?
I think
He wasn't a big ticket seller.
He was a decent sized one. He was definitely more than Gerald Miller. In 2015, he just defeated Klitschko, right?
Yeah, but before that, you could argue. Okay, all right. I want people in the comment section, just for a second, if you could let us know your thoughts on whether Tyson Fury was a big ticket seller leading up to his ban. I know that leading up to his ban, a lot of people didn't like Tyson Fury. He was getting called all sorts of names.
It still is.
And then he went, and then he went through that period of time where he became, he started making a lot of political statements. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
And then he started talking about homosexuality, and then that he had that situation with the MP. And then he went away, and then he came back, and then they kind of gave him a makeover, if you remember.
More or less. I don't know some of his scandals with media and stuff. Like, I heard his comments about homosexuality, but that MP stuff it might be a bit too British for me. Like, I haven't been following it that much.
He says, yeah. So he wasn't a ticket. Okay, not all. He was a meme on the internet for uppercutting himself before the ban. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't a big ticket seller. I remember when I used to do interviews with Tyson all the time, and people say, Tyson Fury. I remember the stick I used to get for it. I either got a lot of praise by sort of like, I won't call them pro Tyson Fury fans. I would probably call them fanatics. Because Tyson could never do anything wrong. And I guess they had to be that way because of the sort of abuse Tyson was getting at the time as well, I guess, to kind of balance things out. Aren't most traveling lads decent ticket sellers, especially if they're any good? I guess so. I mean, I wouldn't be an expert on that. I guess
Well,
so.
the stereotype of the fighting Irish is a very old one.
Uh-huh.
So it's. I
Yeah,
would
but
imagine it's
he was
marketable to feed into the stereotype.
okay. Even when Tyson Fury was fighting David Hay would have been the A side of that fight.
All right.
Hay was the more marketable guy at that time.
Yeah. Fair.
At that time, because he former undisputed cruiserweight champion. I think he was he heavyweight champion of the world then? Wow, was he champion of the world? I don't know what was Hay doing in 2000 at that time. Somebody will tell me. Somebody in the comment section will tell me. But he would have been the A side had they fought back then. Somebody will come out and tell me. Hay was huge though. Yeah, that's something. Hay was huge.
Hold on a minute. I just thought about it.
Chisora was more popular than him as well. Chisora was more popular than Fury, I would have said.
Yeah, but up to which point? Because
before value add, yeah.
He fought Klitschko on November. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, because Tyson was talking about Klitschko and his toe, wasn't he? He was mocking Hay for his toe, wasn't he? He mocked him about the toe thing. So he must have fought Klitschko.
Yeah, so he fought Klitschko at the end of November, 28th of November, 2015.
Yeah. So saying that he wasn't world champion then. But
he becomes a world champion, and after that there is a ban. So there is a conflict where he all of a sudden gets ramped up and becomes very easy to market.
Yeah.
And also that's where his
but I
drug
do know
PD abuse or whatever situation begins.
I do know, to be fair, going back to Tyson Fury, going way back to Tyson Fury, I know that he did suffer a lot from depression. That is something I can definitely tell you, he suffered a lot from depression. That for sure. But even back then, so like the mental health thing came out, or the big thing about the mental health thing, when did that become apparent? Was that around the Klitschko time, wasn't it? Second Klitschko fight.
Second, because in the first one, he goes in, he beats him.
Yes.
And when IBF puts, let's be honest, a boot on his neck.
Yeah, I was talking about stripping him.
And Klitschko pushing for a rematch because, again, it's a bit of a thing with Tyson, how he...
Klitschko's.
Yes, because one, he didn't want to give him a rematch because he just didn't like the guy to begin with. You can see it from the interviews and how he describes the guy and whatnot, right? That's one of the reasons you don't really want to honor somebody that you don't respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons I think that contributed it is that he was really forced into the rematch because there was a contract.
And he didn't like it.
Yeah, and I believe he was looking for a way out of it. And plus the IBF is putting the boot on him, so it's, it can contribute to a person like spiraling out of control. It's just, I don't think that's the only thing. It's rarely, when you're looking into the reasons why people behave a certain way, it's rarely just one thing.
I remember talking to Tyson, and that was I think when Huey Fury fought the War Machine, Larry Aliboneu, he fought him, and I was sitting right next to John Fury at the time. I remember I interviewed Tyson and I asked him, he said, the IBF are stripping me, and it's not fair because I paid money for sanctioning fees and they've not even given my money back. And then I saw Tyson after that. That was the last time I spoke to him. Then I think I was moved out of the country. He was talking. It was sat down. We were eating together at a restaurant. It was his family and Peter Fury. He's still with Peter Fury at the time, and I could see his whole demeanor. He really had no interest in that Klitschko fight, and it's like the impression I was getting from him is like he felt like he was being controlled, like he had a noose around his neck, and didn't like the fact he was being controlled.
Well,
So I
he
don't
has
know.
to.
I don't know if he that whole Klitschko thing was an opt out. He opted out of it because obviously he didn't turn up to the press conference and he didn't make the fight. So the fight didn't happen. The fight collapsed
And
because of.
at the time, he was photographed going to Europe for a football match, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't like he was so injured and couldn't fight, or he was so I don't know, stressed or down that he was just not leaving his house. It's that the fight itself, he really didn't want to have anything to do with it. The rematch fight.
He didn't. Do you think drug testing had anything to do with it? I'm just throwing it out there.
If that information was out to him, because here's the thing, the information about the failed drug test
Hmm.
appeared about the same time we got news that the rematch wouldn't be happening.
Mm-hmm.
But he might have gotten that information earlier. That, you know what, we've just received a few emails from from these bodies that are saying that we found something. You might be under suspension and whatnot. Right, like the process begins. It might have been inside his head, you know, when he was thinking about what to do, right? Because there's a rematch on top of him, which is trying to control him. Um, there could potentially be these governing bodies, the sanctioning, not the sanctioning, the um,
UCAD.
yes, the overseeing bodies,
Mm-hmm.
putting pressure on him. And if it comes at the same time altogether, you might even get paranoid, right?
Mm-hmm. And the IBF trying to strip you.
And IBF, I believed, already stripped him because that was very like a month after month or 6 weeks after pretty
And
much
then
he got the
the
belts.
IBF title that subsequently, I think was it Charles Martin and
They're
what's that guy's
Ukrainian.
name?
His leg
Yeah, well,
snapped. Ah,
yeah, his leg snapped, and then Charles Martin won the belt, and then from that they end up fighting Joshua, and Joshua becomes world champion.
I'll tell you in a second. Vyacheslav Glaskov.
Glaskov, yes, yes, interesting. Sometimes you need to go back, track back to people's behavior to kind of understand what's going on now. Remember, that was the same time I did the interview with Tyson Fury when he said he wouldn't fight Luis Ortiz because he was, listen to the words, he was Southpaw, he was Cuban,
A
and he
foreigner.
didn't bring a foreigner. He didn't bring in any ticket. He didn't bring tickets in, or he wasn't a big ticket seller, and he was dangerous. And he didn't have fans. He said even Luis Ortiz fans don't like Luis Ortiz. That's what he said. Those were his words then. He then later on, when it was asked about Alexander Usyk, he said the similar things about Usyk being a foreigner.
Yep.
So now, here we are in 2023, and a fight breaks down between him and Usyk. There also a fight breaks down between him and Klitschko. And the fight would have broke down between him and Wilder if it wasn't for legal obligation. For the third fight, you remember? He was trying to push me
Yep.
for that Joshua fight.
Mm-hmm.
You do wonder.
Well, here's the counter to that logic, right? Because he
Okay.
says Usyk is not a draw in England. Let's examine that. Usyk comes to England, beats Bellew, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
massive event
Mm-hmm.
because it's defense of undisputed,
Cruiserweight champion. Yeah.
right? Then he fights Joshua. No, hold
Chisora.
on a second. Chisora. Chisora is a big draw. Everybody knows Chisora. If
Big
you
fight.
ever been following British boxing, Chisora, you cannot go past him. So people kind of tune in. Then he fights Joshua
Not
twice.
once, twice.
First in London, so it was at Wembley, I
Big
believe, right?
arena. Uh-huh.
Yeah. no way it was a small event. Everybody knows what's
Right.
happening, right? Rematch, people tune in remotely. I don't think a lot of people travel to Saudi Arabia, but they don't need to. So if you, and now Usyk versus Fury, that fight sells in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way you cannot sell it, and there is a reason why they booked Wembley. They didn't bank O2 Arena, did they?
Nope.
Mm-hmm. The fight really sells. So the hogwash about, you know,
He's a foreigner.
that
You don't sell
he's a
tickets.
foreigner, he doesn't sell, and that the Tyson is the only draw there doesn't stick.
Okay. So what makes Tyson Fury the draw in boxing? He had 3 fights against Deontay Wilder, right? But who's the draw
Yes,
in that? Is it Deontay Wilder or is it Tyson Fury?
combination. There's definitely a combination. Deontay Wilder could not sell very well by himself. He was getting the recognition online on TV, but if he was to host an event, he wouldn't gravitate people in the seats, like physical seats.
But he's a
So
knockout artist. So people came
he,
to knockouts.
that's right. But here's the thing. So by himself, he's a decent draw, just not a great one.
Okay.
And Tyson is in a similar box, at least
Hmm.
prior to
The
fight with Wilder.
Are we gonna use the WWE as the reason why he's so marketable now?
I don't think that's the only reason, but it definitely helps. I mean, he trained with MMA stars, right? He like went and did a bit of training with Darren Till. I think he's a UFC fighter. There are people from UFC who are kind of pushing him, so that would be Diaz brothers, for example, right? So he does have some, promotability.
He did sell around 150,000 seats in Fury's last 2 fights, one being no roof in winter. Who's that? Who's that Usyk we're talking? Oh, who's he talking about?
Fury's last 2 fights. So he's
You know,
talking about.
he did sell around 150,000 seats in Fury's last 2 fights. Who's he?
Well,
You talk about Usyk?
no, there wouldn't be in Fury's last 2 fights. So with 2 last fights with Fury, well, that's the only common denominator. So there would be Chisora and Dillian White.
Yeah, maybe you talked about it'll probably clear up. Oh,
Okay,
Fury,
there we go.
150,000 seats in his last 2 fights. Okay, you're talking about against Chisora and Dillian White in Britain. But Dillian White and Chisora in Britain, I've got pretty big names with the British fans.
Yeah, he didn't have them with nobodies.
Yeah, but you couldn't take Dillian White could probably do the O2. Chisora could do the O2. They've got no problem selling out the O2. Chisora and Dillian White have done it on pay-per-view events in the UK. So they are both dance partners because they both have done it in the UK, business-wise. But none of those 2 guys could go outside of England and do the same thing. You couldn't put Dillian White and say he's a pay-per-view star in America, nor could you say the same for Chisora.
Sorry, but the combined with Fury, now that kind of works out because the last fight was at Tottenham, right?
Yeah.
And Tottenham is how large?
I don't know how big the stadium is. Somebody please give me the numbers for Tottenham Stadium. Somebody can do that for me. I'd say it went a bit further with him and Wilder, a lot of racial tension, and I noticed in the US, particular segregations between the 2 races, and gained a lot of traction within white America. Yeah,
well, I don't even want to touch it.
Yeah, but I know you don't touch it, but you know the history of heavyweight boxing, and you know how the Great White
Hope. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I didn't want to touch it because imagine if this fight does happen and it's in between 2 white guys. So
yeah, we talked about that.
and people would start talking like, "Oh yeah, blacks never made it to the finals, eh?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh
That's all
shit, I'm out, I'm out."
no boxing fan wanted to see Chisora 3. Only casual went to that. 60,000, I think. 60,000 is Tottenham Stadium. He's saying.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 60,000 is about right. I just googled it. So yeah, Wembley.
So that can get thrown out the window regarding Usyk not being a big ticket seller.
Which is
the only thing that
nonsense.
Tyson Fury said is true is that Usyk's a foreigner.
Oh yeah, I don't think he would blend in somewhere in Edinburgh.
No, he's a foreigner. He's a foreigner. But I don't like the way you use it. I said it before. I don't like the way you use the term foreigner. These foreigners come over here and take our jobs. You can imagine him saying that. But
that's pretty much the accusations that because he's a foreigner, he's not interested, right? Because he's just a dosser. He's laundry folder.
Isn't that borderline? You call it racist or borderline
xenophobic? I don't know. I don't really care. It's one of his excuses why he's essentially paying into the stereotype that if it's a foreigner, it's something like so low, it's not even worth of your considerations.
Why am I going to pay these foreigners? Why am I paying this foreigner? Even though he's a unified heavyweight champion, why am I paying this foreigner? What am I paying him for? What am I paying this foreigner for? Let's employ our Brits. They're better. Yeah. Employ these foreigners.
But that's the only logic that it makes sense, right?
Good afternoon, Denise. Much love to you.
Fury, who marketed himself as Irish for so long, all of a sudden complaining about foreigners.
Exactly. There's a video of Fury saying if Usyk beat Joshua, he still wouldn't fight him, and he said this in 2021. And here we are. He didn't fight Usyk. I've told you. The ultimate, the legendary he's the legend. He is the alpha and the omega of contradictions, Tyson Fury. Yeah, I'm going to give my money to charity. Next thing you ask the question, don't ask me what I'm doing with my money. It's my money. I'll do what I want with my money. Yeah, that one. I'm a fighting man. I'll fight any man for their mothers, this, that. Yeah. What about Usyk? Yeah, he's a foreigner. Yeah, he doesn't sell any tickets. Yeah, he's a middleweight. So that's all the reason why we should fight him. Yeah, but still, even if he beats Joshua, I'm not fighting him because he's a foreigner. Yeah, I'll fight anybody. I'll fight anybody, but I won't fight him, and I won't fight him because he's.
I'm a people's champion. Fuck everybody.
People sit down and listen to this garbage and think this guy is a walking, talking contradiction at elite level. It's not even like he's a British champion or European champion. He's a world champion. Like he's one of the. Some say he's the greatest of this era, and he's a walking, talking contradiction. People still have trust in him. I don't get it. I don't understand. LOL, there's definitely something wrong there. Fury's forgetting he's a traveler whose ancestors kept moving around. He's a walking, talking, like, contradict so much that it's even in his bloods and his DNA. How deep that contradiction is going.
You know, that's something I've been thinking about.
Yeah? I've said this for years, though. I've said this for years about Fury, and I caught a lot of flack on this channel for it. Listen, he's entertaining, he's fun. But even now, people are like, man, mate, bro, you're talking too much. But when he made his comeback, I said he was going to talk all this rubbish. It's all pantomime. I mean, what's the excuse going to be now? I heard another rumbling. I don't know how true this is, but Fury's considering retirement again.
If it's coming out of the mouth of Fury, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, I heard Frank Warren saying, I heard Frank saying, "Oh, Fury's pissed. He's mad. He's upset at the collapse of the fight." Well, isn't it your fault the fight collapsed? Yeah, 30%. And every one day you don't sign that contract, it's 1% off.
Oh, here's the funniest
Surely.
part.
Yeah.
When Usyk accepted, he said, "Donate 1 million pounds to people of Ukraine," right? So to a charity. And during the negotiations, apparently, Fury did take the 70-30, but he would not contractually obligate himself to donate anything to the charity, essentially.
Well, you know why? You know why, don't you? You know why, don't you? What am I going to keep wasting foreigners for? Huh? You want me to pay these foreigners twice?
Fuck them people, they don't speak English.
I have to pay this foreigner 30%. I have to pay him 30%, and then I have to pay more money to his people as well. What's this? Do I look like a charity service or what? That's the sort of thing that Tyson would be saying now. I mean, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand.
No.
Nan Drone Part 2. He's like the kid who gets put in goal, but he owns the football and then threatens to take his football home with him. Yeah, that's it. Fury is expecting his 7th child. He has more kids than title defense.
Okay, that's funny. A good one.
That's a good one. We need that. We need something to make ourselves feel a little happy because of the disappointment of this fight. I mean, okay, let's keep this real, right? Did Usyk stand? Let me use the word. Was Usyk a considerable threat to Tyson Fury?
Yes. You know why? Because if it wasn't, he would have made the fight immediately and cashed out on the opportunity to promote himself. And then he would set up a fight further down versus Ngannou or somebody.
Do you think he felt that the Usyk fight was too much of a risk against the foreigner and a Ngannou fight was there to be made? And maybe Deontay Wilder could get that Ngannou fight before he does. Do you know what? Could you imagine if Deontay Wilder jumped the queue and got the fight with Ngannou before Tyson Fury did?
Oh, man, that would be shitty because Ngannou is getting knocked out. That's one.
Yes.
So Ngannou is not being remarketed because he's just been shut down in the first performance. And he essentially needs to fight Deontay Wilder again. And it's both good and bad. The good thing about it is he fought him before 3 times, so he's going to feel confident. But the bad thing is you're fighting Deontay Wilder, so you're in it again against, one mistake, just that one moment.
It would be funny now.
Not great.
Tyson tries to get at this Usyk fight, try to get more money, try and go for maybe an Ngannou fight, and Wilder beats him to it. That would be so funny.
Oh yeah,
can you imagine?
That would deadlock him because now he has to fight. Who is the number 1 in WBC? Would be actually, is it Joe Joyce or is it somebody else? WBC.
Oh God, I dare not even look down the page. I saw a comment there and I dare not even look at it. He said he must be really poor after he donated all that Wilder purse. Yeah. Frank Warren said Fury didn't want to get involved with politics, so Frank said he'd make bet with Krasuk playing charity if Usyk won. Tyson didn't want to get involved in politics, but he's talking about foreigners. Okay. Ingram, play this thought to yourself. Mahmoud Shah versus Tyson Fury at Wembley. Yeah. Well, remember, he tried to pull that stunt with Mahmoud Shah at Christmas time, December time. And that's where I was telling people Deontay Wilder is going to end up getting that 3rd fight with Tyson Fury. And Fury was trying to get that sneaky fight with Shah in. And we end up getting the Wilder 3 fight. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? What have you got to say about this? Warren said Fury didn't want to get involved with politics, so Frank said he'd make the bet with Krasuk paying charity if Usyk won.
Are you asking me about this comment? Warren said it. Uh, it's a bunch of nonsense. I don't think it even has to do anything with politics. And don't forget, Warren has been running, well, damage control for Fury for the last pretty much 2 weeks.
He's not been doing a good job. He said, "Oh yeah, Tyson had people over ready for sparring for training. He's got a training camp ready." Blah 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 blah. And then Sugar Hill says, "No, Tyson ain't been training for nothing." So which one is it? Which one is it?
Well, I believe Sugar Hill a lot more.
So do I. Considering that he's Lawrence Okoye's trainer as well, and Lawrence Okoye just finished fighting like last night. This makes me wonder if Wilder really is a top level fighter, because how Fury makes a Wilder fight easy, but not Fury. But not Fury. He only fights guys he knows he can win.
That is
That's
true.
interesting.
He fought Wilder because he saw some limitations in Wilder, and he almost got away with it the first time. It's just, I do believe that the first should have gone to him, but we got the 3 fights out of it, so now we have the definitive answer of it. And what I believe happened in the first fight is Fury found out all of that abuse he put on his body and being out of the ring, it said to him that he cannot fight as he was before, as this herky-jerky movement kind of guy.
Yeah.
Instead, he had to switch trainers because if you remember, after that fight, he goes to Kronk Gym and becomes this offensive-minded Fury.
Yep.
So he must have realized in that fight he cannot do it at the level that he wants to. Like, it's gone, right? You're trying to do it and it's gone, so you have to find a new strategy. Think about how Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd and was knocking everybody out.
And then he
after
changed
a while,
his hands.
it was gone. Like, he couldn't do it anymore, so he restructured everything. He became a defensive-minded fighter more. He wasn't a knockout
after that Wilder fight, he seemed to be getting more knockouts after that. Am I correct?
That's right. So Wilder 2 is where he becomes offensive, right?
Yeah.
Wilder 3, he gets a knockout. Then he fights Dillian White, he gets a knockout. And then he fights Chisora. Sort of a knockout, more like, just the ref was tired of watching Chisora being tortured.
Check this comment out. This is interesting.
What would be political, to be honest, is...
You're the Ukrainian?
I can hardly make a...
Okay, he's saying donating to Ukraine arm fund would be political, to be honest, is right thing to do, but would piss people off. That's what he means by being political.
But he doesn't have to donate to what does it say?
The arm fund.
Yeah, he can donate to refugees. He can donate to humanitarian aid. Who the hell would be pissed by you donating to provide housing, shelter?
Yeah, but you can't do that when you've been calling people foreigners, because Ukrainians are foreigners.
Okay.
So how does that work? As if, you're calling Usyk's a foreigner, and because he's a foreigner, that's why I'm not fighting him. But yet, in the same breath, maybe you could work for Tyson. You can call someone a foreigner, and you won't fight him because they're a foreigner, but you'll still pay. You'll pay to fund the foreigner's country or people in that country. Does that make sense to you? In Tyson Fury's world, does that make sense to you?
It still kind of does. I think the reason why he wouldn't honor it is because okay, let's boil it down. Let's set the positions right. I believe that Tyson Fury is the reason why the negotiations failed.
Of course. Well, you see the kind of rubbish he was talking, even for the Joshua fight as well.
Yes, but it just needs to be said so don't people don't assume or don't come back to this conversation, right? I I believe Tyson Fury is to blame for this, and he was looking for reasons for this fight not to happen.
Not to happen.
So if Usyk comes back with a very gentleman-like, very eager way to say 70-30 is yours, right? I will go with that as long as you do the little thing for me back, right? Just a little like what do you say? Uh, a little gesture of goodwill, a little sacrifice on your end, right? That you provide 1 million, which is definitely wasn't that big of a part of a purse to the cause that I believe in, right? So if you wanted the fight not to happen, you go 70-30, fine with me. Your little small favor is not, because you're nitpicking. You're going for the little things to insult the other side, to essentially say, you know what, I'm not talking to you. Right? The same reason why. So one thing why Usyk's side said we're just not gonna go any further with this is because he hears one side, which is 70-30. So the goalpost did move, but it wasn't moved where they agreed to move it, right? So he gets the 70-30 and then piles on more demands about rematch clause and whatnot. So the reason why Tyson declined Usyk's request is not because it's political or whatnot. It's because he wanted to frustrate Usyk's team to the point where they would pull out, which is exactly what happened, right? So then he can say, yeah, I tried my best. The Dosa wouldn't fight me. Ah, you sausage. You tried your best but wouldn't face the Gypsy King.
And you're gappy too. You're gappy too. You're ugly.
Yeah. But here's
the only
thing,
thing I
right?
say is you're an ugly foreigner. He hasn't used the word foreigner yet. Pretty far from it. But you could tell as he was insulting you, thinking, yeah, you're a foreigner to you're an ugly foreigner. He hasn't used the word foreigner and ugly in the same, but he's not far from it. And when you say he's insulting, I think myself, look at this guy. This guy's meant to be he's the heavyweight champion of the world. And I don't know.
And he's the guy who is eager to fight you. And if you believe that you're gonna win, you're gonna become undisputed. He's not running around. He is the guy who's gunning for greatness of the sport, if you believe it, of yourself, if you believe it, whatever, right? It's gonna be found out. And yet you just throw away that entire premise. You just go, nope, foreigner.
Have you noticed every time Fury ducks a fight, an announcement, he expects a child? Klitschko, then AJ, then Wilder, now Usyk. It's interesting, isn't it? Well, he's 7 kids, so.
True. I don't know. Again, with the announcements of fights and fight cancellations and whatnot. Hold on a minute. Didn't he announce he's having a child and when he didn't want to get the rematch with Wilder?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Warren must be spinning it. He said in an interview it was for arms aid, I'm sure. Oh no. It's getting worse.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about this from an Usyk perspective. All right. You studied this man, you're a Ukrainian yourself. Tell us how you feel. Usyk kind of like said enough is enough. What was it? Do you think was the camel that brought the camels back, in your opinion?
I feel more so that he wouldn't honor the 1 million question.
Mhm.
than the rematch,
Okay.
right? Because Usyk, for those of you who don't know and don't follow Usyk in his outside of the boxing career,
Mhm.
he is a little bit of a public figure, and he works a lot at making things in Ukraine a little better than they are. So, for example,
Mhm.
he has a small promotional company. They're not very large, but on Ukrainian scale, they're decently sized, and their aim is to bring up the talent from Ukraine and catapult them onto the world stage, right? So he's
Okay.
helping boxers in Ukraine, and I believe one or two fights Serenko had under that Usyk's promotion team, or at least they organized the event.
Okay.
Um, Second, is that right now, when the war started, he's spending a lot of money on humanitarian aid, I believe. They provide shelter for people.
Okay.
It's soup kitchens, whatever would be needed, because, a wide range of humanitarian aid to Ukrainian civilians. If I were to take that into consideration, and I would say, what would offend Usyk more, that to the point that he would just pull out, he would just say, you know what, I've had enough. Like, there is
Mhm.
no way I believe this person is serious. I would say that it was because Tyson would not honor that 1 million pound obligation. Because to him, it's a lot bigger, it has a lot bigger value um, emotionally, I guess, you know, personally, than the money number itself.
Uh-oh. Frank's come out. You know, Frank Warren has emails to prove that neither he nor Tyson Fury are at fault for the cancelled unification bout with Usyk. What do you
Hmm.
think about that? Frank's always got emails and contracts, isn't he?
Of course. Email just came out. The goddamn Dosser would not fight me. No, it's all nonsense. See, here's the thing: when somebody's blaming the money, I personally believe that they're just using the convenient scapegoat to excuse themselves. Because
Mm,
when people are pursuing greatness, when people are
mm,
pursuing the undisputed, the man versus the man, numbers
mhm,
kind of become a second place thing. They're not
mhm.
non-existent, but the whole idea is the belts, the legacy, the whatnot. And Frank Warren from the beginning has been trying to spin it that it's all about the money. Like, if the money does not satisfy Team Usyk, or if uh, the money are not there, then the fight is not happening. But that doesn't make any sense, because when he's saying Usyk, when Usyk takes
Have a listen to this.
70-30.
Go on.
Oh yeah, you just said have a listen. Oh,
You there?
okay. Yeah, I'm here.
I
Um,
got this.
when yeah, when people are saying that it's because of the money, Usyk accepted 70-30, so he willingly took a step down to make the fight happen. And when
Mm.
um, essentially he extended his arm out to make the fight happen, so the money wasn't the primary thing. The primary thing was the legacy, right? But Frank Warren tries to spin
Yep.
it around that the primary thing was the money, which doesn't bode well. It doesn't stick to his opposition.
Okay. True.
And
Uh,
my belief is Fury is about the money, Usyk is about the legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So Fury wants to get the money. Usyk wants to get the legacy. But the second, Usyk is not going to fight for free. It's just not happening.
No, but
First of
Tyson would.
all,
Tyson would.
and
Tyson
has he
fight
ever?
Anthony Joshua for free.
Has he ever? Well, that's the thing, right? He says he would.
I'll fight you free on national television. That's what he said. For free.
Yeah. I remember him saying it, and
said
it never happened.
Oh,
As a matter of fact, in negotiations, we just recently heard that he was offering 60-40 split to Anthony Joshua, who is the bigger draw, with 60 for Fury's side, right? So he's essentially saying, I'm going to fight you for free, 60% is mine. What does that mean? 60% of free is 0. So why are you negotiating the split?
He said, I never went to school, I never went to school. I'm not very educated. That's what he come out with.
It
the other
shows.
day. He said that.
He should have. He should have stayed for the same year twice for every grade.
He says the 70-30 shows how useless your manager is. That's what he said. Yeah, listen to this. Fury's promoter talked to, I'm not going to name the company, while reading the letter from Usyk's promoter. He said, this is a cop-out. Listen to this. I'm not even blaming him, Fury. Warren starts reading the letter because it was what it is. He ain't blaming him. That's not my words. Team Usyk is out of the negotiations for April the 29th. The Queensby manager stated the following about Usyk. What does Usyk deliver in America? Nothing. Nothing. Now, I've read you what they said on Monday, and it didn't change yesterday. We didn't even get to a discussion about it. Usyk, had gone back to Kiev. We're not to blame. Queensby are not to blame, and Tyson's not to blame. It's what it is, not my words. And even if it seems that Fury isn't strictly to blame for the failure of the negotiation, it is what it is. Simply implies that Usyk is not either. So I don't know what that's all to say. What do you think?
Well, Frank is trying to run a spin that, well, they're not to blame. But here's the funny thing, right? When they came, it was TalkSport, right? Both Krasiuk and Warren came to the show. And Krasiuk was like, listen, we don't have a problem with Warren's team and his side. They're being as professional as we can hope. We like working with them. We cannot blame them. The whole problem is Tyson Fury. And Warren, of course, couldn't do anything because he couldn't go against his business partner, essentially with the person he has to deal with, Krasiuk. But he could also not go, right? That's the guy he tries to make the business with, so he cannot trash him on air. And the other guy is being so sincere, but he cannot really trash his client, which is Tyson Fury. So he's like, oh, we're gonna get back on talks off the. We're not gonna discuss it over the radio. We're gonna go back on the phone and get it sorted. And they didn't, because the barricade, the roadblock, is Tyson Fury. He cannot control him, and no matter how hard he would try, it would not happen. So now he has to defend his client because he's his damn client. That's who gonna bring money to him.
That's it. Exactly. Frank loves a printout. That's true. He loves a printout, loves an email, loves a contract, loves a mobile phone, loves a text message. I'll show you right here. Right here, this WhatsApp message right here. He loves it. But you gotta love Frank. You gotta love Frank. And the shoulder roll. You gotta love Frank.
Love me print out. Love me money. Hate him, Usyk team.
Do me a favor. The day I knew Fury would duck Usyk is when I saw Joyce bring himself up to the face-off between Usyk and Fury. Yeah, I said this too as well. What the hell was Joyce sticking his head in there for? Have you ever seen the only time I've seen a face-off like that is in WWE wrestling.
The only time I've seen it, I was thinking immediately of a Mexican duel, like in old spaghetti western movies. What is this thing? How does it play three ways?
It's a three-way.
Yeah, because okay, well, Joe Joyce, Britt fighting Britt against Tyson Fury. Okay, marketable. Joe Joyce rematch in Usyk at Professionals.
That's interesting.
It sells. You can spin it.
Yeah.
But how does it work three-way?
Even better still, Usyk and Fury, and the winner fights Joe Joyce.
Yeah, it can sell either way.
Yeah. Fury's smart. He knew exactly what he was doing.
It was insane, but it would sell. Like, no matter which way he tilted, it would sell. That's another thing. People been trashing Fury over this. I've been picking up that Tyson is scared shitless or something, or that Tyson was never that good. No, Tyson is pretty good, and Tyson is pretty smart. It's just their priorities in different different planes.
Let me throw this at everyone in the room. What does a retirement do? When he goes into retirement, what does that do for Tyson Fury when he says he's going into retirement? What can happen during that time? Does that let the smoke blow over while he's retired? He spends time with oh yeah, I got a child on the way, retire, spend more time with the family. That's plausible, isn't it? That's a way to get yourself out. He was retired after the Dillian White fight, wasn't it? He was retired before the Dillian White fight. He was retired. He said he'd never fight again. Then he comes back, he fights Dillian White in Chisora. Now there's murmurs about him retiring again.
Well, I don't think he's coming back out of this retirement. That's the thing. Who's he gonna fight? Because if he's going into retirement, he's not coming back. But if he's been in retirement, the kind of retirement that he had when he was claiming to have mental issues, that doesn't do wonders for you. And I think the reason why he, again, coming back to previous thing that I said, the reason why he realized that it did a number on him is because he fought Zephyr Safari and Pianeta first, and
they were not sellouts, were they?
Yeah, but then his skills were not tested, and then when he went against Wilder, he really realized that the retirement did a number on him. What do you think?
I don't know, but he's going to look to retire again.
Well, I think this one is going to be final, unless he's going to feel confident to beat up some other bum.
It says here, it's pretty clear to me that Frank Warren can't control Fury. In his mind, he knows Fury don't want this fight. I want to know what Frank really feels about Fury.
He's never going to tell you.
He's probably one of the most difficult people I've ever had to work with. Do me a favor, but he does pay good money. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, whatever dealings Frank had with Billy Joe Saunders, and now he's got Billy Joe Saunders off his books. Imagine that probably 10 times worse because of Fury being the heavyweight champion of the world. There's more money around Tyson, so there's more hangers-on, and there's more decision makers. I tell you, a good person to ask about what really happened in negotiation. Ask John Fury. He'll tell you straight.
Well, he might refuse to comment because, just gentlemanly type of...
when has John Fury refused to comment? Well, there's been a couple of times he's refused to comment. When it's been his political, he's probably been warned off.
Wait. John Fury is his father, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm confusing with his uncle.
Peter's different. Yeah, Peter
yes.
trained Savannah Marshall.
Pardon me. Yeah, John Fury. You would need to put a sock in his mouth if you ever to ask him a question, because Well, he doesn't have a filter, and he's very opinionated.
If we're gonna make a prediction as to what happens next out of all this, first of all, I do not want to see Usyk fight Dubois at the copper box. No.
I'm afraid it's gonna happen
What?
because Dubois, I believe, is the WBA mandatory. He's the regular champion, so WBA made him a mandatory for what do they call it? Not unification, but some consolidation match.
Usyk's gonna put him to sleep. Usyk will put Dubois to sleep. He'll
It
stop
is
Dubois
what
in
it
the
is.
first
But
half.
apparently, Usyk cannot get out of it. Like WBA been pushing for a mandatory defense if he doesn't make the fight with Fury happen, which means
go on.
Yeah, which means it has to be a defense against Dubois.
Is it a unification defense or is it a
Consolidation, they call it, because Dubois is regular champion and Usyk is the super champion.
So then what happens? Super regular?
Well, no, it's just super, apparently. But here's the funny thing. I don't know if they're going to put the regular belt back online, because they've been promising us that the consolidation match is going to eliminate the regular ones. And that's it.
So you have WBA super champion.
And that's it. No regulars anymore after that, because the belt is not up to grabs. It's going to be interim maximum in case,
But the thing about that is the legacy of the WBA belt. The guys like Muhammad Ali that had that belt, all those eras get wiped out.
Well, that's not the regular belt. Super belt carries the same thing as the Muhammad Ali belt.
No, the super belt has no legacy behind it, whereas the WBA regular had the legacy behind it. That's the belt Povetkin had, Hay had, all the champions then had that belt. Lewis had that belt. Who else? Klitschko would have had that belt. Povetkin had that belt. Didn't Value have that belt? Value have that belt?
No, he had a regular, I think.
WBA, yes, what I'm saying. That regular belt has.
Yeah, but Klitschko held super.
How did he hold super?
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, when Joshua and Klitschko fought, that was for that WBA super belt. That was a belt that was created.
No, that was before that. Super belt happened when he fought Hay, because Hay was. I can't. It was with Hay, because Hay became the regular champion and Klitschko super champion. But I don't remember whether it happened before or after the fight. I think it happened before.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Eugene, we'll pop off for a few minutes and come back.
Yes.
Okay. Right. While Eugene's off, please let's just talk very quickly about Usyk and Dubois. Your thoughts about that before Eugene comes back. Pop, pop, bang. Regular is just another way of saying mandatory. Well, let's get that cleared up. Usyk is going to make Daniel quit, and then it will be the end of Dubois. Then we should call Usyk the British executioner for beating British fighters. Yeah. Well, check this out. Frank Warren thinks that Dubois is going to catch him. When Dubois catches him, the fight's going to be over. I can't see Dubois catching Usyk that easily. Let me know your thoughts on how a Dubois versus Usyk fight happens. Dubois versus Usyk. Usyk versus Joyce, and Joyce versus Fury. If Joyce versus, and before that, we've got Joyce versus Zhang. How does that fight go? Joyce versus Zhang. People, let me know what you think in the comment section. You just transfer it over, the regular gets wiped out. That'll be interesting. From regular to super. When you heard the fight was cancelled between Usyk and Fury, what were your initial thoughts? And how has that changed your view of Tyson Fury and your view of Alexander Usyk? Let me see if we've got any other comments here that I might have missed out on earlier on. Ah, so it's here. I blame Usyk's delusional promoter thinking he's worth more than 30%. Win or lose. He is not a draw. Belts don't make you a draw. See Loma and Cambosis. Well, Loma was never undisputed. Cambosis, GGG. No Canelo. All his fights tanked. Okay. And then Toby responds by saying he accepted 30%. What's wrong with asking for the terms reversed as a winner? I think that's quite. I would have done the same. Are you saying Usyk wouldn't be a draw as the undisputed? Because you'd be wrong. Yeah, I think he definitely would be a draw. You back?
Yes, I am.
Check this comment out by CRB1. Guys, I blame Usyk's delusional promoter, thinking he's worth more than 30% win or lose. He's not a draw. Belts don't make you a draw. See Loma and Cambosis, GGG. No Canelo. All his fights tanked. Your thoughts? And then Toby responds by saying he accepted 30%. What's wrong with asking for the terms reversed as the winner? Are you saying Usyk wouldn't be a draw as the undisputed? Because you'd be wrong.
That's clearly a joke post.
Why?
Well, no, the guy who leaves these comments on your streams, he's being sarcastic most of the time. So I'm assuming he's being sarcastic right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because 70-30 is a split for a mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And mandatories get 30%. Right? Usyk is a marketable in Britain unified champion.
Undisputed former cruiserweight champion of the world.
Also a gold medalist and an undisputed cruiserweight champion who has fought in Britain plenty. You can sell a fight of him. If he was to fight against any other British fighter, like let's say he would fight Joe Joyce or Daniel Dubois, he can still sell a good fight in Britain for very decent money. I think it would be over $12 million, pounds or whatever. He would definitely fill in O2 Arena, and it would definitely sell some decent pay-per-views. Maybe not the record breakers, but decent ones. Basically, that fight would not be difficult to happen and sponsor.
Who? Usyk Dubois.
Usyk versus Dubois, for example. Yeah, or Joe Joyce.
Who wins between Usyk and Dubois?
Usyk.
Why? According to Frank Warren, all Dubois needs to do is catch him. And if he lands, it's the end of Usyk. That's what Frank said.
That's a fantastic tactics. The only boxer that I know that it does work for is Deontay Wilder. That's it. Nobody else can rely on that tactic and still come on top. Because Usyk is fast, nimble. He's a surprise for most of the heavyweights. And Dubois is a bit limited and unexperienced, I would say.
Let me throw this one at you. This is an absolute cracker. Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder. What do you think of that fight in America?
I have this
Which is
rule.
more dangerous? Which is more dangerous?
Deontay Wilder is always dangerous. If there is light behind his eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's light behind his eyeballs.
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder is always dangerous to anybody in the heavyweight division.
Wilder or Fury? Who's more of a dangerous threat to Usyk? Wilder.
If you're sagging in rounds against Tyson, you can make adjustments. If you were crappy for half a second, 2 seconds against Wilder, and he catches you, that's it.
Remember what Uncle Bashir said about Wilder? He says that Usyk could be outboxing Wilder for 11 and a half rounds. A one right hand from Wilder.
Yep.
And that's his
Wilder
own
has an
trainer.
advantage that nobody else in heavyweight division has, and it's a gift from God. And it's tremendous power. Like he can erase all of his mistakes in one move.
Yeah, but the footwork of Alexander Usyk and his movement, will that give Wilder issues in terms of having been able to? Because if Usyk's constantly
Absolutely.
moving, he's not
Here
going to
is the
give Wilder the
problem, though.
same place to land them shots. Go on.
Usyk will be a problem for Wilder regardless. Like he will make Wilder look very inadequate. The problem with Usyk is no matter how shitty Wilder would look for all those 12 rounds, no matter how good he would excel, if one of those punches lands, it's all bets are off. Because now you're banking on Usyk's chin and on Wilder not finishing him off as soon as he gets back up. And that's a terrifying prospect for any heavyweight that is active today that decides to fight Wilder.
Let me ask you another question. How would Alexander Usyk, peak Alexander Usyk heavyweight, do against the Mike Tyson that fought Michael Spinks?
He might have done better than people would give him credit for, because I believe he could defeat him. He does excel when the opponent presses and he has to work from a back foot, constantly moving. And that is the kind of style that Mike Tyson was not exactly geared for the person that is constantly moving. But here's the problem. Usyk is not great on the inside. Like, you can kind of see him, and he's not an inside fighter. And if Usyk is not constantly moving and getting away from Mike Tyson,
Jesus,
then it's a fight. It's kind of like, imagine if Usyk is the championship caliber fighter on the inside fight against Mike Tyson. It's kind of like he isn't even a boxer to begin with, right? Because it's that raw physical punchy thing that Usyk just never does.
Okay, check this one out. Michael Buff says, Buffer says, Dubois or Dubious, we'll call him Dubious. Dubious has slow feet and slow combination. Don't think he has the gas tank. And I think Usyk will hit Dubious at the temple, and that will be all she wrote. It's true. Should call him not Dynamite, but Dubious Dubois. Because the way he got dropped by that Larea, can you imagine Usyk hitting with that the same way?
The thing is, I didn't watch that fight where he
got hit on the temple. He got hit with a shot, and people said, "Oh yeah, he twisted his." It was a punch that made him go dizzy. That's what, as far as I'm concerned, a punch made him go dizzy. While the right hand is questionable, ask yourself what top level opponents that had Wilder KO'd when Mike Tyson KO'd. Top level opponents that Wilder KO'd. Luis Ortiz, I would say, was top level because he was the bogeyman, so he might be in top level. Who else did he stretch out?
Let's see. If we go with Deontay Wilder, how about Steve Vern? He knocked him out stiff.
First round, yeah.
Yeah, and he's resilient. He kind of lasted 12 rounds with him before. It's whatever you make of it.
Okay.
Right? Dubois.
Who?
No, Duhaupas. The Dubois.
Duhaupas, yes.
Right? He is not an easy one to get out of there.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily a top fighter, but
he's tough.
Right. Hellenius.
Wiped it around. Who else? Brazil.
Yeah, Dominic Brazil. Although Brazil has been taken out before, I believe, by Joshua, right?
Not like that. Josh never took him out like that.
Well, nobody takes him out like Wilder
Like that.
does.
Ah.
Although
Still up.
Povetkin did a better job on Duhaupas than he did on than Wilder did on him.
Yeah, but that was that Povetkin or Pedvetkin?
No, that was the funny Povetkin, the
Pedvetkin.
juicy one. Yes,
Pedvetkin, yes.
yes, Povetkin.
Bless him. Um uh
Either way, and he did knock Tyson Fury on his ass anytime he landed good.
yep.
Even in their last fight,
He's shown
he
he's got knockout power, or he hits considerably hard. So
yeah, it's
yeah,
like the fight, the punch doesn't have to be perfect; it just has to land.
Grant, it says
And
when Tyson fought lower level opposition, he KO'd them, but the minute he stepped up against Holyfield, nothing happened. Well, okay, hold on. I could say the same thing. When Lennox Lewis fought Holyfield, he couldn't knock Holyfield over. Yeah,
skills. If you're
yeah,
not there to be knocked out, you know.
yeah, but Bo knocked out James Toney knocked out Evander Holyfield. So what we say now, James Toney's a big puncher.
That's fair.
James Toney knocked out Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield still came back and fought. He still came back and fought after that Tony fight.
Yeah, and Foreman couldn't knock out Muhammad Ali.
Stavern wasn't in shape in the second fight. Out of the ring for 2 years. Ortiz is old. Diapas was not a KO.
Okay, yeah, it was a TKO either way. Habas
Yeah.
was not making it to the 12th round or out of it.
Yeah. And what's the other guy's name? The teacher.
Teacher.
The
Who are you
teacher.
talking about?
The teacher. I can see now. The teacher. He fought. The teacher. I can see now. He made Wilder's leg buckle. But
You're
Wilder knocked
talking...
him out at the end.
Who?
Joshua
Is it American?
Yeah. The American school teacher.
Gerald Washington, maybe?
No. Oh, yeah, but Eric Molina. Yeah, Molina, yeah.
Oh, Molina, the guy who got popped for PEDs?
Yeah. Oh, dear. So, yeah, so according to Michael Buffer, he's saying that Wilder's punching power would be slightly overrated against Usyk. Well, Michael,
no.
I would not be betting my house on that one. That's not a fight I'd be betting my house on at all. Anything can happen in that fight.
Anytime you think about Wilder's power underrated, watch that video of the mascot in front of Wilder.
Yeah.
That guy did not expect to be punched, and Wilder didn't punch him. Definitely did not punch him strong enough to do any grievous harm by him. But the guy went flying.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what his power is plenty enough for anybody on this earth.
Watch this, Michael Buffer. AJ KO'd Molina in 3 rounds. Wilder KO'd Molina in 9 rounds. AJ KO'd Brazil in 7 rounds. Wilder KO'd Brazil in a round. Your point.
This shit doesn't make sense.
So is that the reason why you don't think Wilder's a big enough puncher? I'll tell you something. Wilder is more of a threat to Usyk than Joshua ever would be. But I think Wilder is more likely to get knocked out by Usyk than Joshua is. Because Wilder's prepared to put it on the line where Joshua isn't. Low-level opponents.
No. Okay, let's get off this topic. Wilder has plenty of power to knock out any heavyweight alive. And he's dangerous for anybody. It's silly.
Is he past his best, Wilder?
Probably yes. I would say it doesn't mean that he's not dangerous. It's just I don't think we're gonna see more from him. So whatever he was in Tyson Fury 3, he might have picked up a couple of tools. This is what we get.
So are you? If you see this fight, is it a fight you could bet on? Is it a fight you would just leave alone?
Who versus who?
Wilder, Usyk.
I I would give Usyk an advantage, like 60% Usyk wins, 40% Wilder. But I would
Mhm.
not bet my house on it. Like I popped into one of your streams and you were asking those people that question.
Yeah.
I
Would
would
you bet
not bet
yourself?
my house on it. The danger is way too
Mm,
high.
too high. Too high.
He always has that chance, no matter
Yeah,
the moment of the fight.
I don't see Wilder outboxing Usyk. I don't see Wilder outpointing Usyk. So it's straight
Nor
out
does he
Wilder
need to.
knockout. Wilder by knockout. I
He
could
has
see Usyk
decent
stopping.
chin, good stamina,
Mhm.
and tremendous power. He does not suffer like the limitations that would make it an easy fight for Usyk.
Usyk is a far more skilled boxer.
Yes.
But what Usyk has in skill, Wilder takes away one right hand or
Yes.
left hook.
Left hook maybe less so. I haven't seen people get really hurt with left hooks
Was it a
first.
left was it a left hook that stopped Helenius?
No, no, no. He just walked into a straight punch. It was ugly.
If Wilder fights Ruiz, I bet you Wilder loses. Wilder's weakness is the temple shot. Watch. When Fury hits Wilder to the temple and Ruiz does the same thing, I predicted Fury would KO Wilder 7 to 9 rounds. I won 3,000 that night. So what's your prediction for Usyk Wilder?
I would go with the unanimous decision for Usyk.
I think Usyk can stop Wilder.
Too good of a chin
Really?
and too good of a gas tank.
Is his chin that good?
Yes, his chin is decent. I believe that.
Who, Wilder?
He got sparked. The only time that I actually seen him hurt outside of the second fight with Fury, right? Because he did get stunned a few times in the third fight, but in the second one, where
What
he
about the Lewis Ortiz fight? He's faster.
yes,
Lewis Ortiz is faster than Usyk. Lewis Ortiz has got better boxing skills than Usyk. Come on.
and he has a lot greater punching
Faster
power.
hands and faster hands.
So he would spark Wilder, and Wilder would be visibly hurt, but just Luis Ortiz couldn't get him out of there because he couldn't catch him with a good strike. So it was all like pounding on top of him that wasn't
Yeah.
that good, and Wilder could survive that. So I don't see a stoppage.
Yeah, but all the wear and tear, those fights, is the
Again,
Fury fight.
We don't know how bad it is. Maybe it's terrible. Maybe he's just
not.
as normal.
But I would not want to be the guy to find that out. Let's put
No,
it this way.
I
would
wouldn't
just-
bank on it. It's a
No.
very high stake at the very random number.
Okay, who would you rather Usyk fight, Wilder or Joyce?
Joyce. First of all, he fought Joyce before. That's one thing. He's not completely. Again, it was in the amateurs, but it's still he kind of knows the guy. Second, there are a lot more people in the world who can replicate the Joyce style and danger from him versus Wilder, right? So when you sparring, you can get prepared for one type of fighter. It's a lot harder to prepare for Wilder type of fighter.
Yeah, because of the punching power.
That's right. And Joyce seems like a better choice, although it's still not an easy fight.
Usyk is not a defensive wizard. Joshua touched
It
him.
depends on the style.
Was Joshua
Usyk can
touched him?
be if the opponent constantly presses. Then Usyk can go on the back foot and box off of that. But if it's more of standard Usyk fight, I would call, then
Because
yeah.
Fury's not known as a power puncher, and yet Fury dropped him 5 times. Usyk will make him tired. Wilder was tired against Fury. Imagine what Usyk would do. I think Wilder chasing Usyk around the ring could tire him out if he's not doing the running, he's not doing the fitness. He'll tire out faster trying to catch Usyk, and he'll tire out missing with punches as well. Yeah, he may land that right hand, but he'll miss a lot as well. What do you think?
I agree, but here's the thing: Wilder, we haven't seen him like tired in the 12th round. He has never been gassed to the point that we would see him being ineffective, essentially. Well, maybe in the championship rounds of the third Fury fight, right, where it really it was a combination of things, I believe, getting way too heavy for him and whatnot. But in general, if Wilder comes as Wilder regular is 220 pounds,
yeah,
with the danger of that knockout and being light, I don't see him guessing that horrendously that he wouldn't be a problem of
what about
12
Wilder
rounds.
coming in heavier?
Again, why? What for?
I don't know.
He may, but then again, the benefit is not there, right? He doesn't, when he's fighting Usyk, what's the point of being that heavy? Like, when he was fighting other heavyweights, technically he could have dehydrated himself and went to cruiserweights. He could have done it.
Or Bridgerweight, maybe.
Well, he was coming in as a heavyweight, not dehydrated, at 217.
Remember, Holyfield was 215. I think Tyson was 215.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we have Joyce fighting next against Zilly Zhang. Guys, that's a dangerous fight still, because Zhang can punch. I know Joyce takes punches, but that Zhang is dangerous, I think. He's a bit flat-footed and a bit... He himself is there. It'll be a shootout between him and Zhang.
It'll be nice to see. I think Joyce got it anyways.
Yeah.
But
what about our friend next weekend? The return of the landlord.
Wait a minute, who are you talking about?
There's only one. AJ.
Oh, Jesus. I just don't know the date. I'm like,
April
yeah,
1st,
he's fighting Franklin. I don't care.
Nobody cares about that fight. It's like AJ's fighting next week. Oh, okay. AJ's no longer the event. Remember, you say AJ's the event. AJ's no longer the event.
Yeah.
Michael says, Usyk makes all his opponents tired. Wilder was tired against Fury in the first fight, and Fury didn't do that much because Fury wasn't in shape himself. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Wilder's condition is going to have to be key for that fight. He might have to play the old chess match against Usyk.
In order to win, he would need, again, it's basic mathematics. Actually, there's a bigger subject behind it. But whenever fighters consider fighting each other, you kind of try to stack your deck as hard as you can, right? And Wilder definitely would need to be in good physical condition, lighter, and in general sharper. He would need to fight a lot of fast, smaller guys.
Okay.
Because if he's coming in the same way he was coming out against Fury in the third fight, it's not a great idea, right? You need some more nimble, smaller, faster target and better stamina. So again, depends on the fighter, right? But that's actually what brings me to the other subject, is why I believe one of the reasons why the fight didn't happen with Fury. And it's the fact that Fury was trying to stack cards in his deck as thick as possible, and he couldn't get it done. And So money is one thing. Usyk being way too prepared while he's not is another thing. But also, Usyk is a bit older than Fury.
Uh-huh.
He's 36. So Fury is 34, and I believe he's turning 35 in August. Smaller heavyweights don't age the same way as the larger heavyweights do. At least they don't seem to.
Uh-huh.
So people who react to their reaction speed, their athleticism,
Uh-huh.
suffer a lot more as the age sets in than the larger
Yes.
guys who rely on their just natural attributes as
Uh-huh.
size and
Yeah,
power
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
weight.
They do say that.
So Fury might be trying to age Usyk out a little bit, put some more miles on the clock on Usyk, because
Like
Fury is
Usyk
the
kind of
younger guy.
That's sort of thing Lennox Lewis would do. That's what Lennox did.
It, possible. I mean, that's what um, uh, what's his name? God damn it, Canelo
Did with Golovkin.
did with Golovkin. He could have fought him earlier, 2 years earlier at least. But why would he? And with every time, he would give it some time to pass before the rematch, and he would
Uh-huh.
do better against Golovkin. And then on the third fight, it wasn't even a question anymore.
Uh-huh.
But that's the thing, you kind of age out your opponents, and Fury might be taking that into consideration. You know, should I
Uh-huh.
fight him now, or should I, let him fight Dubois, which is not necessarily that big of a step up for him. So it's not necessarily that he's going to be any better from that fight,
Mm.
and then fight him as he's older. You got to think about that.
Mm.
He
Yep.
did, he did say that Klitschko didn't try to fight him for a while, but then again, what if he didn't fight Klitschko until he saw the fight against what's the American guy?
Jennings. Brian Jennings.
Jennings. Seen how well inadequate
Forward.
Klitschko looked and said, "It's ready. I can go for it."
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. All right.
You
Is
never
there
know.
anything else you want before we
Speculations,
end?
right?
Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we end?
No, I think that's about it. I say I'm
Mm-hmm.
still hoping. My personal
Mm-hmm.
hope is that we're gonna see the fight in like around September, October, just in the fall kind of
They're
season.
saying that if Joyce wins against Zhang, then Fury will fight Zhang. Fury will fight Joyce. And then Usyk will fight Dubois.
I don't know. Like Usyk will have to fight Dubois regardless before the fight with Fury happens.
You know. Yep.
The Joyce fight, I don't know.
That means that there will be no undisputed champion then.
Not for a while. Maybe end of the year, maybe possibly.
Okay. All right. Eugene, thank you so much as always. People love you on the show, so we appreciate your time and efforts.
Yep. Thank you so much, and keep paying attention to boxing.
Absolutely. I will do when I can. I don't get the time like I once did, but obviously it's good to be here. And you're just
Oh,
certainly somebody saying something here. So it says,
before you go,
yes. Go ahead.
any news from Uncle Bashir? Is he coming onto the show?
I haven't
anytime
heard
soon?
from Uncle Bashir. I haven't. Yeah, strangely this year I haven't heard much from Uncle Bashir this year at all. It's a weird one. It's
Hmm.
weird, but I haven't been around myself, so I've been ducking and diving myself. So now that I'm sort of free-ish, I'm gonna try and connect with Uncle Bashir. Oh, a little bit of news about Sorenko now. He was in the gym and he got injured, so he's out. I think for the rest of the year, or at least until September. So he won't be boxing until October time, maybe.
Oh, he's going to be inactive for 2 years straight.
Yeah, that's not good. Dubois' eye will get popped out again. The kid doesn't have a chance against Usyk. I don't think so either. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you, as always, Eugene, and thank you all for watching. And we'll see you in the next one, I guess. That's April the 1st for Joshua versus Franklin. Should be fun.
All
See you
right.
then.